holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then we immediately contact Lord Shri Krishna. Because that is without offenses. Because sometimes, our mind is very strong, it's going all over the place, it's very hard to control. But when we chant, we try to hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then the other thoughts don't come in. And then if we do it without offenses, then we can immediately contact Lord Shri Krishna. It's like, you may be on the telephone and somebody could be on the other end, speaking to somebody and not paying attention to you so much, and you can easily pick up, isn't it? Or sometimes vice versa. Say if I'm speaking on the phone, somebody is disturbing me, they can pick up on the line that something is wrong. You're not actually concentrating on the phone call. So the same way is the plea to Krishna, that we have to respect that. And when we call his holy name, we have to surrender fully, totally. Although mind is a cause of bondage, Lord Krishna says, and mind is the cause of liberation, So it's all in the mind, So if we have sadhusanga like we are having today, that will give us more love for Krishna. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. So Krishna says, whoever renders service unto me, I'm a friend in him and he's a friend in me. And then Lord Shri Krishna says, he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he is unrooted among men and he is freed from all the sin. Then Lord Shri Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. This is all that is required. That's all. So I hope you all enjoyed listening to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I hope we will continue like that every week.
Known as the peace formula. As Bhuktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvalokameshwaram Sa Suridam Sarvabhutanam Jatva Mam Satim Rachate. The sages know in me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. That's in Bhagavad Gita, that's 529. Here Krishna proclaims that he's the enjoyer of all activities and the proprietor of all planets. That's Sravalokameshwaram. An individual may possess a large tract of land and he may be proud of his ownership, but Krishna claims to possess all planetary systems. Krishna also claims to be the friend of all living entities. Suridam Sarvabhutanam. When a person understands that God is the proprietor of everything, the friend of everyone and the enjoyer of all, he becomes very peaceful. This is the actual peace formula. No one can have peace as long as he thinks, I am the proprietor. Who is capable of claiming proprietorship only? A few hundred years ago, the Red Indians were considered to be the proprietors of America. Today, we, in turn, are claiming that proprietorship. But in 400 or 4,000 years, perhaps someone else will claim the same. The land is here, and we come here and falsely claim ourselves to be proprietors of it. This philosophy of false proprietorship is not in line with the Vedic injunctions. So it's interesting that the different countries, they're all fighting for ownership and conquest. But as explained by Srila Prabhupada in many incidences in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, is that false proprietorship is only temporary. So so this land is called Ireland. So 5 million years ago, was it called Ireland? You know what I mean? So we go back millions of years. You can see that things change on the material platform. The material platform is it's shifting. It's unsteady platform, and as I've mentioned before, that what we're looking for, the peace formula, is sort of saying that if we acknowledge that Lord Shri Krishna is the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, and the friend of all living entities. That's the interesting thing, the friend, because here when we're trying to get proprietorship and ownership, we divide into friend and enemy. We have that duality of friend and enemy. If you're assisting in my attempt for proprietorship, then you're my friend. If you're not assisting, then you're my enemy. And this is the way the material world works, So it's almost some sort of type of paranoia. As a great devotee pointed out, that in America, especially during the Cold War, where they had all these atomic bombs and they're all aimed at Russia and this, that, and the other, And it was all out of paranoia. Because you're saying that basically, not all of Russia is going to invade all of America. Only a couple of people are going to invade, But yet they're prepared to wipe out thousands of citizens, you know, just for the sake of, you know, a couple of men, you know, who invade, sort of thing. There are at least 1,000 people claiming to be God. But if you ask them if they are the proprietor of everything, they find this difficult to answer. This is obvious. This is a criterion by which we can understand who God is. God is the proprietor of everything, and being so, he must be more powerful than anyone else or anything else. When Krishna was personally present on this earth, no one could conquer him. There was no record of his ever lost a battle. He belonged to a Kshatriya or warrior family, and the Kshatriyas are meant to give protection to the weak. As far as his opulence is concerned, he married 16,108 wives, and every wife had her own separate palace. And Krishna expanded himself 16,108 times in order to enjoy them all. This may seem difficult to believe, but is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the great sages of India recognize that this is a scripture and recognize Krishna as God. And the interesting thing here is when Krishna says, I'm a sex life that is not contrary to religious principles. So, you know, he expanded himself, and these wives, they were princesses, and they were captured. Was it Bhimasura? Bhimasura, sorry, not Bhimasura, sorry about that. Bhimasura had captured them and held them in a dungeon, and he basically rescued them. And they pleaded with him to marry them because as we know from the Indian culture, is that if you're overnight, if a woman stays out overnight, then it's not a good thing. Imitate a perverted reflection of God's majesty, you know? Do you know what I mean? You get the point? Is that like they have all these like computer stuff to try and emulate God, but they're not actually emulating God directly because they're in ignorance, but indirectly emanate a quality of God, you know, a mystic perfection of God. It's quite interesting. Shri Krishna intimates that he's imparting the most confidential knowledge to Arjuna. Why is proclaiming this to Arjuna? It is because Arjuna is non-envious. In the material world, if someone is greater than us, we are envious. We are not only envious of one another, but of God. And also when Krishna says, I'm the proprietor, we disbelieve it. But this is not the case with Arjuna, who listens to Krishna without envy. Arjuna does not cavil with Krishna, but agrees with whatever he says. This is a special qualification. This is a way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible to understand what God is by our own mental speculation. We have to hear it and we have to accept. And this is an interesting point, is that when you first read the Bhagavad Gita, especially Bhagavad Gita is Srila Prabhupada's presentation, then the challenges are speculations of who God is and what we are, you know, and how that we're trying to use material world for our own purposes, and it totally smashes those anatas, if you like, those unwanted things.